We are so fortunate. There's no doubt that we didn't sink in the interest of materialism. We are lucky enough that to find, or the door, there's something that much more better, more profound, more beneficial, not only for our own self, but for your karmically related, your friends and your families, and larger in way in your community, and even that this planet. In one angle, when you look in the present situation in the world, it's like us, almost we feel like, where's the solution? You know, we find kind of like almost like discouraged. But in another hand, if we don't change our mental attitudes, and if we don't change the pattern that we follow, then it's slightly difficult. But if we able to make some change, if we were able to make an example, then of course in this planet, this world, there's a hope of a peace. If there's a hope of a peace in an individual's life, in a one person's life, I think, in general speaking, there's a hope of peace in a family that can be more extensive in the community and in a country, and so on and so forth. Buddhism, basically, the training is we don't put, trouble, the blame. We're not supposed to blame, how you say, to external, to outside. Things, the problem starts, once our own mental attitudes, once we feel like disregarding, once we lose a sense of respecting for another, that's the when I see the problem starts. Once we don't have any mental attitude, sense of respect for another, then no matter how much we are intelligent, no matter how much we are wise, in one way, in another way, we might harming for another. So therefore, I think if we want to have a happy life, a genuine friend, if we want to have a good friend, joyful friend, then I think first attitudes what we should carry is a sense of respect, sense of respect, and criticizing is I think is not so. The word criticizing is also not so pleasant to hear, but generally speaking, genuine respect, that is, I think, is very important. Sometimes more do we get the wisdom and understanding, instead of applying our wisdom to clarifying our own ignorance, we will go take that our wisdom and trying to correct another people's ignorance, and in trying to show them. So that is absolutely wrong. In Tibetan, which we have way of saying, the study, there's two consequences. I say, by study, which kind of result should supposed to happen? Is like we have to have a subdued character. Our verbal character, our physical character should be a more subdued. That is the sign of that you have studied the Buddha Dharma. Now, if you have a meditate in a Buddha Dharma, what's the sign? Is that you have a more subdued your mind. Gomta nyamo chunga. Nyamo as like affliction or negative emotion. Nyamo chunga. So therefore, uh, in a day-to-day basis, yeah, if we're becoming kind of like a very, although we all are very interested to study, to learn something new, and but it's coming kind of like a show up, or some kind of like a showing, how you are so superior than another, then we are losing the sense of respect for another. If we lose sense of respect for another, there's no way to cultivate compassion. Compassion, such a wonderful mental attitude. Yeah, there's no disagree from any angle, spiritual or political or whatever. To experience this sense of compassion, I think first step, sometimes we go to think in meditation in such a deep, in suffering and so on and so forth, but in an immediate effect, the jump start have to be in a sense of respect. Respect, once we're able to carry mental attitude to respect, no matter is it poor or rich, or very knowledgeable or not, or there's no this kind of like a character. That is a sentient being. It's another than you. Who have a wish to happiness, don't avoid suffering, and just showing genuine respect. So that is, I think, the key method to cultivating compassion. Okay. So, based on that, now time to complete my job. Okay. Now today, Maitreya is a champa. In Tibetan words is champa. Champa is sense of genuine affection, towards. That's named champa means genuine affection. So with the Maitreya's, his own text, Abhisamaya Alamkara, again. More method side of practice, which we're going to discuss this one, 70 topic. I want to personally, you all putting interest in this topic, although it's very complicated, and sometimes when you just look at the translation, trying to read, it's kind of very philosophical. You don't know, is this the English language or is it something foreign language? You might get, but however, there's a reason that Lama Zopa Rinpoche put this is in the part of the program. There's a reason that in all those great universities, in a Buddhist university, ancient Buddhist university, to go through this study. So basically, although there's a language barrier difficulty, there's many things, but sacrificing all those things and trying to put in effort is a very how you say, I myself personally really wants to thank all of you, putting some interest, although it's difficult. Not only subject is difficult, you went whole day in all individuals' professional life. Now in the night, trying to chewing, which is again one hard part of subject. So anyway, trying is one of the good chance for us. So okay. little bit. Okay. So these eight main topics are the subject of the text called Abhisamalamkara. In English, we translate it. How we translate? Clear ornament of realization. So, which are the ornaments? These eight are the ornaments. 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 So basically, there's 8 chapters. Each chapters are, discussing, analyzing on those topics. So far we are still in the first chapter. Know of the aspect. That have a first chapter have again 10 topic, 10 aspect or 10 topic. So it's quite slow. Okay. Basically, mind generation. You must be familiar if you have studied the Lamrim, which is bodhicitta mind. Sense of taking responsibility that you want to make something different. You want to solve the problem of yourself and also solve the problem of another living beings. So some kind of like a very courageous mind. So mind generation in Semkye, in Tibetan word Semkye, once individual person cultivate this kind of mind, the individual person becomes bodhisattva. We have this concept of a bodhisattva. How we define bodhisattva is not bodhisattva. Once we have this kind of mind generation, purpose of benefiting for another, you want to obtain Buddhahood. This kind of mental attitude, once we have a spontaneous or as your second nature, then individual person is as a bodhisattva. Then to really able to cultivate this kind of mental attitude or mind, we have to have a special instruction. We need to guide. We need to bless our lineage. It's very important. Now, once we able to, have the instruction and able to cultivate this kind of mind generation, then from that we can really able to obtain path of preparation, which is the third. It have a 4 limb. So we can move forward. Now, to all those things to really able to happen, first of all, we have to have an understanding of, do we carry this kind of a potential to really transform, to make a change? If mind is flexibility to change, mind can meditate and transform and cultivate really high realization, this kind of potential. It have this kind of capability, but it's there really, we as the individual person, do we carry that potential or not? So to analyze that, the nature of abiding lineage basically is talking about the Buddha nature. So, all those able to change in a selfish, 100% selfish to 100% cherishing for another, to able to make this kind of transformation. First, we have to have, if there's nothing, some kind of potential, something nature, then is a word of trying. There's no word of trying. So the reason there's a word of trying is because we carry that potential. So from that point of view, we need to meditate or study or to find Buddha nature. Then observe object, of course. Then, once we have, the Buddha nature, and able to cultivate those kind of realizations, then there's a steps that what is the virtues and what is the non-virtues, what is the able to practice, and what is the to upend, those kind of more detailed things to understand. Then the fifth one, observing object. Then the sixth one, object of intent, chetuchawa. Then again we have to reflect all those activities, those kind of like understanding, have to have a purpose. We have to have a like a plan. We have to have a plan where we start and where we're going to end. So basically, the subject number 6 is telling which is the end, which is the final destination, object of intent, showing that final destination. Then it's basically is giving more, which kind of how say, to giving more detailed idea of enlightened. When you say enlightened, it's kind of like a one word, but to give more detailed understanding of enlightened, then the number 6, the object of intent. And this we have talked already. You in the textbooks maybe you can find more. Then number 7. Then you have to be prepared. I say achieving through armor. Basically, achieving through armor means like once you have kind of like went through all those research and process up to number 6, that basically mind generates such a strong motivation. Actually, achieving through armor is kind of like a some individual we have in a conventional world. Some individual person have a really wide, really great vision. This is an armor in terms, not an armor in terms like you wear in like when you go to war, not like wearing kind of thick things and not becoming like a SWAT team. It doesn't mean that. So basically, over here, armor in terms that the mind which really expand. It's very in our life as an individual person, not only in a spiritual life but in a conventional life. I think so important that our purpose, our existing, our purpose of life, we should put really wider. Don't try to think only around your how you say fireplace. Next, you need to expand, going out of your living room, out of your as a bedroom, out of your property. That basically the mind should be like thinking something that you are going to do with your life, very profound and beneficial, like a think more, greater. That is really inner armor. Inner armor. Once individuals carry that kind of attitudes, then there is a truth, there is a reason. Nobody can destroy that. And if you're able to keep and stick with our own commitment, we will you will become victor. So therefore, the number 7, achieving through armor, basically all those the basically number 6, object of intent, that is the ultimate goal. So how we're going to obtain that is basically we have to prepare our mental attitudes, have to expand. So basically that was done through able to practicing 6 parameters. Practicing within each parameter, you're able to apply 6 parameters. So that kind of training really helps to expand our mind or the motivation. So this becomes the inner armor. Okay. Then now we finish all those 7. Now number 8, achieving through engagement. Oh, that's good. Good. Is this in California or in somewhere? So anyway, now, achieving through engagement, the relationship between the through armor and achieving through engagement. Basically, what that means is, sometime in our life we see some individual person thinks really big. When they are comfortable and they are in nice weather, but you are able to put in action. That's important. Think really bright things, and you take a long trip with your mind. But if you're not able to put in engaging in action, these days we have this concept, compassion in action. Too much compassion talking is not enough. Too much meditating in compassion is not enough. Compassion in action. So basically, this armor, concept as I mentioned earlier, achieving through armor. You cultivate this kind of all power of a mind. Now you have to circulate that power. So therefore, engaging. First, that's exactly, in our. Anything action we take in our life, if you, before engaging on it, you think carefully, you prepared, you make sure you really want to do that. You check that, ultimately what is outcome, temporarily what's outcome. Prepare through your mind. Once you have it done, then, putting through the action, in engaging. So that is the why, this the relation between, first armor and achieving through armor, then later you have to put in action. So the advice is, don't just be in a daydream, put in action. So that is the, so basically, achieving through armor, you're putting lots of encouragement or motivation for yourself to practicing all those mayanas, path and parameters, perfections. Then engaging, achieving through engagement is a really, dividing whole your life in a, like session and off session. In a session, you put all those practice in perfections, generosity, discipline, patience, diligence, concentration, and intelligence. You train all those kind of practice. Then obsession, you need to apply. In the session, you need to train yourself, teach yourself. And obsession, you share that your experience with another. So engaging is in terms of that. So this is the number 8. Now the definition is although maybe on the text, maybe it can be quite a long translation, because the translation is trying to really to translate exactly from Tibetan word to English. Sometimes when trying to do that, sometimes it becomes difficult. But still, I'm not criticizing that. But we still keep it that. But at the time being, just roughly, the meaning of that is. I say, mindless path. Any mindless path, such as a practice in the sixth perfection and so on and so forth. That the Buddhist, the yogi, I say, Sembe Nanju. Wisdom of a bodhisattvas, which really wants to engage through the diligent mind for all those mindless different paths. So that is really the definition of the engaging, achieving through engaging. Achieving through engaging. Somehow, this is, in a one way, there's a concept of a motivation which is very popular in Buddhism, but when you say motivation, there's two different types of motivation: causal motivation and resultant motivation. That means that motivation is it's kind of like these days when you cook, there's a book, people open the book and you read book, then you cook here, you read book here, you cook here, that kind of things. But in the mind, before you coming back from your job, you have the mind, okay, tonight I want to cook French, I don't know what to, French food. So that is kind of like a causal motivation. The result motivation is like, okay, here the book, here you're cutting, here the book, okay, this. So this result motivation is like over here, engaging, going through. So achieving through engagement is like a resulted motivation. You're on the spot, you're applying. You're not just thinking, you're not just like a daydreamed at the early time. You're really putting in action. You're putting on action with a joyful, diligence. Okay, so so this achieving through engagement. So that's kind of the brief in the definition. So division, there's a nine type of divisions. There's 9 different type of divisions. So basically, it's pretty much includes the practice of inner concentrations, practice in perfection, and so on and so forth. There's a list of 9 things. So you can look through the book, in a handbook. But basically, what is the important is over here. It comes the first achieving through engagement. The first is the samden sume la jube duba. Samden, the concentration. Sume is a formless observation, something like that. Basically, what this is about is when we talk a concept of a mind in Buddhism, the subject of the mind is very, very variety and extensive, and it's also very deep. So there's like a desire realm, which is we all right now here, and there's a form realm, is one different things, and the formless realm. There's 3 different realms. These 3 difference are not from different point of view, a different look or different function. But basically, these 3 are definings, are based on a mental continuum. Now, there's achieving through concentration is a form realm, and then the formless absorption. So we have the desire realm, then the achieving through concentration, which is a form realm, then formless realm. Basically, these are 3 realms. Desire realms, the minds are really relatively gross, and the concentration, which is the mental attitude of the mind of the form realm is much more subtle than us, much subtle than us. Then a formless realm, the mind is almost like a objectless, relatively kind of like an objectless. It is so subtle, relatively. Within the when it's talk about the right now, which mind, the conceptual mind, which we have carrying through right now, is easy to distract. It's easy to it's easy to encourage. It's easy to be happy, easy to be excited, and easy to really fall down. It's not stable. Same like if you want to be with some friend, if you see that personality, 1 minute ago like a very excited, very cheerful, and later 2 minutes, if it's like totally different character, then you feel like, oh, I should be careful. Same like relatively in the mind, a desire mind is kind of like, is very. I think so basically, to engage in the practice, achieving to engage, and to really cultivate this bodhisattva's path and compassion and wisdom realizing emptiness and so on and so forth, we need to have a mind which is really stable, a mind which is really that we can trust. So, desire our mind is just very easy to confuse, easy to be this, like easy to run, almost like a, usually I heard La Lama used to tell like monkey mind. It jumps here and there very easily. So basically, most of the practice that cultivate in a concentration, which is like form realm mind. Mind is much subtle than desire mind, and that is the ideal mind that if we're able to create in our mind. Although we are desire realm, we are although still in a desire realm, but through the meditation, through the training, that we can overcome from the desire realm mind, and we can carry in a level of a form realm mind, which is like concentration, which is called concentration. So basically, okay, how are we going to do that? How we can able to do that? First of all, what are the obstacles we have to find? If we want to build sometimes a house or garden, first of all, what we need to clean up? We need to make a space. What are the obstacles? We need to take it out. So therefore, to able to get concentration, there's like a 5 lists of a problem that usually we face. Most of them maybe will face. First is the the laziness. The laziness. When you are in a warm weather, maybe Northern California is not so warm, but there's a different laziness. One of the most dangerous one is that you say, no, I can't do it. You just means like you never put that encouragement that you also, oh no, I can't do it. Maybe you do it. That kind of things, mental attitudes, is the one of the most dangerous. So therefore, particularly in this case, related with the building concentration, building mental as a focus. One is the laziness is the first obstacle. So for that, what we should apply, since this is a kind of like a very first obstacle, we have to apply 4 different antidotes. 4 or 5 or we need to have four antidotes. First, there's a faith. Over here, this faith, basically, this faith is a faith that seeing the benefit, faith through the benefit of the concentration. Benefit of the concentration. That faith, again, have to come through the reason. It's not like simple, kind of like without base of reason or experience or that kind of thing. It's not talking that kind of faith. Of course, that takes in a taste of concentration. Of course, you have the introductions, explanations, but still, you yourself have to have some certain level of taste of concentration. How that make difference in your life? How that make difference in your meditation? How that make difference in your practice? How that make difference in your, anything that you do in your life? The faith that really kind of, how you say, that makes that, tells us that move out from the laziness. Don't stay there. Come out of the bed. Come out from the. I say that's the sofa sit called lazy boy. So this faith is kind of like a calling. Calling. Then next steps is, once you have that, then the inspiration. You do one more time, you read one more time, you see different ones. So it really not only the faith calls and aspirations really, hurry up. Maybe it tells you hurry up. Basically, inspiration. Once you see examples, and once you're able to read through the history, and you're also able to text, all those explanations, this is aspiration. Able to second step, you had to reach in aspirations. Due to that, then there's things that you're doing with a joyful, diligent. Is that diligent? Diligence. Diligence. Things that I think is very important that once we are doing things that with a joyful, I think sometimes it's difficult, but there's something you want to do it, not that you have to do it. Sometimes there's a pressure. Then it comes like I have to do it. It's not kind of that. Diligent is like I want to do it. I want to, so there's a different feeling. Like a mother's cherishing their children, is that mother want to cherish. That there's not that like mother have to cherish. Maybe the babysitter have to, but not want to. I'm not sure. Maybe so. Anyway, diligent is some kind of like that. Really, you want to joyful effort. Then once we reach in that training in a third, then suppleness. Suppleness is like a maybe relatively my cross leg is suppleness than your cross leg. Relatively, I won't get really, burned out my knees. So suppleness is some kind of like this. It flows naturally. So once we have these four qualities, we can really kick out the laziness. We can say bye bye for the laziness. To overcome from laziness, we have to basically related with the concentration, related with the shamatha or tingizing yönden quality of reading and listening for those kind of things have mainly doing and cultivating those four qualities that can really become antidote of the laziness. The forgetting instruction. Mm-hmm. Then, of course, in terms over here, forgetting instructions, meditation. If we really want to improve our meditation, meditation is one of the key methods to really things to put our knowledge to put in our heart is only done through meditation. Only through meditation. So meditation is the bridge with our head and our heart. And so to really instruction of a meditation, whatever you're going to do in meditation, instruction, we can't take a computer, we can't, while you're meditating, you're not able to put, looking in your notes and, all those things. Or, basically, everything have to be registered in your head. So make sure that, all the instructions will be there. So not to lose in the meditation. So therefore, forgetting instructions. So we have to train that. We have to kind of like not only that so enthusiastic to the doing the meditation, but we have the clear map in our head how to do the meditation. So basically, not to forget the instruction. For that, we need to have mindfulness. Mindfulness is in Tibetan we translate as a tempa. Tempa tempo means some individual person carries very good memory. So I don't know sometimes they translate the tempa as like a mindfulness, sometimes they translate it as like a memory. Basically the mindfulness in the instructions and very clear memory of the instructions. Either is fine. So that is the forgetting the instruction is the obstacles, and the mindfulness, which is the antidote. So, in the meditation, if we want to really improve our meditation, we want to know really clear about meditation, we have to again, what is the obstacles? We have to clearly, distraction and the mental sinking. Within these two, for us, first what we face distraction. You face distraction in the meditation. You try to sit down and you calm down your physical, but your mind is running. There's a struggling we face with the body and the mind. So anyway, I think it's, if we do more meditation in the evening, maybe we face mental sinking more. When we do meditation in the morning, we wake up, maybe we face, we might face obstacle more in the mental distraction, possibly. So basically, due to which time you're going to do meditation, where you should more pay attention, which might come first. Knowing the enemy's situation, it's better to prepare the antidote. So sometimes that this kind of situation can happen. Day and night can make a difference. So, however, to really the antidote, mental sinking and the distraction antidote is the, how you say, mental introspection. Mental introspection. I should drink some water, maybe I can pronounce better. Shishin, Tibetan we call shishin, mental introspection. That's the obstacle second and third, which can happen while you're doing meditation. The laziness before meditation, second and third. So while you are meditation, you might, although you are clear, you are not sinking or you are not distracted, but you are pause. You lost the map. You lost the instruction. You forgot the instruction. So even this is a possible one. Even you have all the clear instructions. You're clearly remembering everything, but due to distraction or mental sinking, on the spot, on the meditation time, that can happen. So therefore, mental in any situation, the problem we have to be catch before the problem becomes so big. Before the fire becomes so big, we have to be ready to put down. Once the fire is already too big, it's difficult. So the antidote, mental introspection, is what it do is like checking that, there's no any small fire as going on in the forest. It's checking there's no distraction and mental thinkings not happening on the side. It's just kind of being aware. So the obstacle also, the number third, can happen on the meditation time session, and also we have to be aware and on the side of the mind is a kind of like a it is the meditation is going purely or as instructed, is going not somehow kind of like a mental spy, watching through it. Doing that improves the meditation. If you're doing that too much, it's not so good. So basically, we have to be balanced. Now, we see in the number three, there's a gross and subtle. So mental sinking. Maybe right now, maybe some of us don't need to worry at all. But in general speaking, some meditators, when they are really able to cultivate the concentration very well, and they don't need to worry with the grossest level of a distraction. Grossest level of a mental sinking. Let's go with this first. Mental sinking, but somehow mind is so concentrated with the object, but there's any kind of energetic or some kind of freshness. Is this a kind of like staying on this long as possible, long as they can. It's kind of like there's like a concentration exists, also clarity exists, but doesn't exist of the grief. So that is the sign of a subtle sinking. A gross sinking is sometimes there's no clarity. Sometimes you go with the different, ideas. Thought runs here and there. So that is a grossest level of a mental sinking. Subtle, grossest level. Once the danger is grossest level of mental sinking is so obvious, we might be able to deal directly. The subtle level of mental sinking is not so. Sometimes individual person can, maybe we might feel that is a really good meditation. We might feel that. So there's advice. Once individual person meditation is getting more advanced, there is a danger to confuse the subtle sinking and the great meditation. So again, mental introspection, that mental spy, checking carefully. Otherwise, the danger is if we fall in a subtle mental thinking, which is almost like a perfect concentration, or almost looks like a perfect concentration. What has happened is, outcome is, you really lose your strength of intelligence, the wisdom. Almost you like kind of like a, so you might lose the strength of the wisdom. So therefore, it is very, mentioned sometimes, it is very serious time that mental introspection have to work more seriously. Then, likewise, in distraction, it have also like a grossest level of a distraction and subtle level of a distraction. However, those things, if you can read also in the Lamrim Chemo, and also you can go through the Paumgar Rinpoche's Liberations Palm in Hand, you can read through those things. It have a more detailed explanations. So, mental introspection. I think in the meditation, in all these kind of a quality, that how we can cultivate, how can we cultivate while you're concentrating on something, but at the same time you're able to spy or able to look without distracting. Is this going up perfect or not? How we can do those things. I think it's first preparation. It have to be before we go to before we do the meditation. We have to put in our motivation that I say in the motivation, kind of like putting all those preparation in the motivation that might help while you're doing meditation in able to check. Sometimes you can also train that, like, we don't know, generally speaking, we don't know when we went to sleep. Do we know? Exactly, we don't know. But if you put motivation before you're going to sleep, like, I want to really catch it when I feel slept, there's like a short time that the time of a wake up. I think this kind of like the same thing, that once you're able to put the seed of the mind imprint, and then, of course, this is whole like process of training. Then the number 4, the obstacle, not applying the antidote. Exactly. Once you are caught in mental thinking, or once you're caught in mental distractions, not applying the antidote is obvious. Applying antidote, that is again when you are really doing well, your meditations are going well and smooth, and not living alone, then you're trying to checking more. It is unnecessary. So of course that is an obstacle. I think that the 5th one is maybe more possible for us. We want to do everything so perfect, so maybe applying the too much applying the mental introspection, that may become obstacle for meditation. So that is the okay. Then okay, now where we are. This is like, after, once we get good meditation, once we're able to train, once we're able to get calm abiding, like through the, clearing up the obstacles and applying the antidotes. And once our meditation reach in calm abiding, then that mind is just the still desire our mind, but really going to fight with the delusion of the desire, delusion of our own self. So, first, this is now, after once we get the calm abiding, this is mostly the meditations goes kind of like a renunciation meditation, kind of like a looking, kind of renouncing the desire function of desire minds, kind of like a very unstable, unconcentrated, and form realms. Minds are more subtle, more stable, more focused. So renouncing from the mind, unstable of a desire mind, and wishing to obtain the form realms mind, that kind of like a renunciation meditation, meditation which that without special insight, without hangtung, just only calm abiding. Then there's one first stage in that kind of meditation. Once that meditation improves and more stronger and stronger, somehow that kind of in the concentration training of renouncing, desire and mind is kind of unstable, wishing to obtain form realms mind, the more concentrated mind. Within the meditation in the concentration, once you're trying to doing this kind of small exercise, which is the exercising of the wisdom, within the concentration, you're exercising something, wisdom. Gradually, once that once that wisdom, becomes special insight, is a haktung. That means that wisdom, able to carry through joyful of Shinjangi Dewa. How you say Shinjangi Dewa? Suppleness of a mind or suppleness of a body. Basically, still concentration, as I mentioned last time, concentration there, without the shaking your meditation, you're able to go all the analyzing. All those kind of process of analyzing, going through with a suppleness of a mind and a suppleness of the body. Once you reach in that level, then it is you obtain the special insight. So basically, that special insight, becomes that kind of special insight, which is the nature of a wisdom, becomes the antidote. It's divided in a desire realms, three, grade, medium, grade, small, then mediums, grade, mediums, medium, mediums, small. That kind of a concept. Basically, if you go, when you go to hospitals, they told you divided your pain in a 3-10. So I think it's the same concept. Divided your affliction in a 9 round. So basically, that wisdom, special insights, becomes antidote of 3 grades, 3 mediums, and analyzing for small 3 rounds, and basically once it becomes antidote of the small 3 rounds, which is the most subtle ones, then once it's able to overcome from that, then becomes the actual concentration. So preparation, concentration, and actual concentration. So here the desire realm, I put the nine methods. Usually when you're trying to cultivate calm abiding, there's 9 methods. Maybe we don't need to go more on. Due to that, already we are in a form realm, 4 categories. That means first concentration, second concentration, third concentration, fourth concentration. And there's a mind becomes much subtle than previous one. Then the formless realm, there's 4 categories. It is much more subtle than the form realm. So now, as I mentioned, the first time when we achieved the special concentration, the actual concentration, the number 1 is the first one. First concentration. It have a preparation and an actual, and likewise something niba, then something sumba, something shiva. The reason why I put that kind of way is in a desire realm, so much the mind the mental states face so much troubles and difficulties. So there's a lot of renouncing for the feeling related with that. So once individual person able to obtain the first actual concentration, all the meditation feeling with that is totally joyfulness. Then in the second concentration, in the form realm, all those meditation which going with a really joyfulness. And the third again is a joyfulness. Joy level of the much more going subtle, but somehow in the meditation, once they get in the third level, even joyfulness becomes a distraction for the meditation. So in the fourth, basically is the mental states is more in a feeling, the feeling level is more in a neutral. So that in a fourth concept, number 4, why I put that in a green level of that science. Most times, bodhisattvas and practitioners, when they're really trying to cultivate bodhicitta mind and renunciation mind, last time we talked like a basis of a mind and basis of a body. Basis of a mind, this is number 4. Fourth concentration is the most suitable, the mind, where they can generate the compassion, where they can generate on that field, where they can generate, realization, and so on and so forth. So, fourth concentration is the most ideal mind base to create all the qualities, and the rest of the number, formless realm is just a too, the mental state itself is just too subtle, so unable to generate. It doesn't suitable to become base of the mind. So then, this completes the earlier ones. Completes the achieving through engagement, the first one, and there's a 9 of them different. But basically, we're going to talk the first one and the number 4th one. Number 4th one is the engaging through achieving through engagement in the 4 immeasurable, meditation in the 4 immeasurable. So now, of course, what is the when we go through the meditation in a 4 immeasurable, if we want to do what we have to be prepared, what is the cause and definition we can find through that. But the first we have to be prepared what the observing object, observing condition. What is the causal condition? What is the daken fundamental cause? Condition, or so anyway, causal condition, or the condition first we can be, in general speaking, that the study töbe sharap, whatever you study about the four immeasurable, all those kind of conditions, it becomes the one thing. The important thing is the observing condition, the mikin, for like let's go with love and compassion. For the compassion, observing condition is just like sentient being who are seeing the suffering of the sentient being, observing the suffering of a sentient being becomes the observing condition, and then fundamental condition, which becomes your own imprint, karmic, your previous life's imprints, and this life's your mindfulness teacher, your spiritual guidance. These are the fundamentals. So these kind of things, preparing from the causal point of view. The definition of four immeasurable, basically for compassion, is basically observing the sentient being, the suffering of sentient being, and wishing to liberate from that. And for love, observing the sentient being and wishing to happiness. To basically this kind of going from that angle. So, again, over here, we usually when we say meditation in compassion, we just go wishing to free the sentient being from the suffering. If we want to do really detailed meditation in a compassion, first we go through the, going through. Seeing and generating and feeling and concerning of a suffering, and based on that, you cultivate wishing to liberate from that. Then you can go more deeper. That is the very common, and most of us we can do it. The difficulty starts from the suffering of a change, that the confusion starts. Or maybe we feel that is a happiness. We won't really get that is the nature of a suffering. So therefore, in the second level, once you're able to cultivate, generate the compassion in a suffering of a change in that level, sentient being wishing that sentient being may all the sentient being can liberate from the suffering of a change. Then, once you're able to do that, that can be a little bit challenging, but once you're able to do that, then we have to move more forward. May I able to liberate all sentient being from the all pervasive suffering. Now that comes very profound. Once we're able to meditate in a compassion in a third level of a suffering, all pervasive suffering, then the concept of an unconditional compassion, those things becomes more fresh. Once you meditation in a suffering or suffering, then there is a conditional can happen, because your meditation and compassion is not very deep down. So once we reach in a third level, we reach the compassion from the depth of the suffering and the depth of the samsara. Really understanding whole situation and wishing to liberate from that. Process of a meditation in compassion, if we're able to go through this one level, try first one, maybe easier. The second and third is the most challenging one. Then with the love, in the same way, wishing the happiness from, grossest level of happiness, and freeing from, suffering of a change, and freeing from all pervasive of suffering, which is the nirvana, which is the liberation. Now, when we say like a concept of a nirvana, concept of a liberation, to understand concept of liberation and nirvana, we have to understand the all pervasive of suffering. Basically, peace. To really understand the peace, basically world peace, we talk all the time. one time in an interview, one general, he's a general, but he's trying to talking about the peace. So he said for the medias, I understand how peace is important better than you people because I am general. Because he understands what the war is. When you understand better how the war is bad, the better you understand what means the peace. It's likewise, when we say better we understand the nature of suffering, always is suffering, then concept of nirvana or liberation can be much more clear. Okay. Now, great compassion, once you're able to really do through the meditation, went through, as I mentioned earlier, 3 levels. The first one is compassion, seeing the sentient being. That is the first level of meditation in compassion. Now, to really enhance meditation in compassion, then the second and the third is really important part. Compassion, seeing phenomenon, objectless compassion. Again, this is a translation from Tibetan to English. Maybe when you read in English, maybe compassion, seeing phenomena, what that means. But basically, now the first meditation in compassion, basically seeing the situation, and based on that, cultivating strong wish to liberate. The second and third is applying the wisdom. Basically, the second one is, meditation in an impermanent. Basically, seeing all the sentient being, suffering, nature, going through this kind of difficulty, but seeing the more help from the wisdom, seeing as all these things, whatever happening in the now is the nature of impermanent. So basically, the second meditation in compassion is like not only the wishing to liberate, but also seeing the method. There is a method. There is a nature that is a nature of impermanent. Meditation is impermanent. Basically, compassion meditation with a support by wisdom of a meditation in impermanent. And then third is meditation in compassion, which is a support by wisdom of understanding of reality, wisdom of understanding of emptiness. So even you are doing the meditation in compassion, but there's once have a different support of the wisdom, it goes much deeper. So there's usually they say like 3 different type of compassion. Okay, so this we completed the number. Today the train is not on the time. I'm a little bit delayed. Okay. Now, so maybe this is not that much important. Number 9, achieving through. Oh, hold on. Achieving through collection. Okay. So now again, number 9 is some part is important. I'll try to go a little bit fast. Achieving through collections. Now, as I mentioned earlier, once not only the good mind, not only the huge plan you're trying to put in achieving through engagement, you put in action. Through that action, what happens? You're going to accumulate it, a collection of wisdom merit and virtue merit, and so on and so forth. This kind of like a collection. So therefore, over here, this the relation between those two is that. Then the definition, the inner yoga of a Bodhisattva, spur to the middle level of the preparation path, hold by accumulating over 2 type of great collection. To get a general idea of this engaging through collection, I say achieving through collection is basically the inner yoga of Bodhisattva mind, which is holded by accumulation of the two type of accumulation. 손이 gyachin bisimbe. So that kind of mental attitudes is Bodhisattva's mental attitudes or inner yoga is the definition of achieving through collection. Okay, so there's now again it have a 17 different type of 17 different things. Okay, we'll don't go all those 17, but we can go through one of the within the 17, the 16th. I think this is 16th one is I think it's grounds. An explanation of the path and the grounds. Now, definition of the ground, in this Tibetan we say sa, and sa, as a in English you translate it in a ground, and the lam as a path. These two are like one person have a two name. Let me say, president and the bush. It's reversed for one person. In this time when it's a president, it reversed for the George W. Bush. You say Bush, the one person. So like when you say ground, what it carries is all those paths have a producing the good qualities of realization. From that point of view, it labeled as a ground. Is that clear? So now, when it's a path as a lam, because it is holded by Nijungi Samba Chuma Mayimbi Simba, it is holded by renounced mind. So that is the path. It produces good quality or realization, so therefore it called ground. And it's just basically looking from different angles. Just from path and ground, usually this is one meaning, but sometimes we use those two different things where you look from different angle. Now, of course, division is a Mahayana and Hinayana. And number 17 we can is important, but we can leave it the time being. Let's go with the path and the ground. Now, of course, we say Mahayana and Hinayana or whatever, just to make like how we make this defined, Mahayana and Hinayana. Is this from the wisdom point of view or from the method point of view? So this is basically defined from the method point of view. Hinayana or Mahayana. Mahayana practitioner or Hinayana practitioner defined based on the method practice. Now, both in Mahayana and Hinayana, there's 5 different stages. Both have, in Hinayana it have accumulation and preparation and seeing and meditation and no more learning. It's a retirement. So also graduation. So both carry, both path, Mahayana path and Hinayana path, both have this 5 different type of path. It's equally have the same. So, but generally, in this case, we should know when it's a Mahayana and Hinayana, it's not from the family point of view. It's nothing. It's from the inner mind. When you have a wishing to help for another, that's the main tension. Then it becomes a Mahayana, the greater. When you have a wishing to liberate yourself, it's reasonable. It is wonderful. It becomes Hinayana. The project is. One project is more extensive, and one project is reasonably extensive. Okay. Now, exactly those accumulation path, preparation path, seeing path, meditation path, no more learning path. how these kind of different stages we define, from wisdom side or from metta side. This is from wisdom side. On the, based on your mind, wishing to extend, you want to liberate, you want to help, you want to change this whole world. Based on that, you increase your wisdom. Your wisdom become more pure, more clear, more powerful. Once it becomes a victor, it becomes normal learning. So these 5 stages as distinguishing based on wisdom. Then the 10th is definitely issuing the achievement. As I mentioned earlier, now relationship between the achieving through collection and definitely issuing the achievement is like achieving through a collection is, as I mentioned earlier, collecting the 2 type of merit, wisdom merit and virtue merit. By once we're able to accumulate it, those positive karma, the result is the definited. Issuing the result is a definited. So the 10th is the within the 10th is the Nijungruba. And definition as a over here yoga pure ground. Pure ground over here is in a Bodhisattva Bhumi in the 8th and 9th and 10th. Once individual achieve in that level, there's no doubt that definitely going to obtain the omniscient mind. So this is the definition, and the Bodho, the Sanzam, is in the pure ground. Pure ground is the Bodhisattva ground, 8th and 9th and 10th. Okay. So we completed this first chapter now. First chapter have a 10 aspect. We complete that. Okay. Now we are in second is the chapter in the know of the path. Now, know the path. It have a 11 aspect. Now, second chapter, main subject. There's 11 different topic. This is the main subject that is going to discuss. As I don't need to read over there. You can see that. Now, first is the limb of the know of the path. It's a Tibetan word we call lamshi. The definition, this is my very rough definition. You can, if you want to look more detailed ones, it's on the handbook. But this is very, rough definition. It's a lamshi. That basically means Arya Bodhisattva's path. Arya Bodhisattva's path. It is a lamshi. Supported by great compassion or wisdom. It's the definition. Now, limb of know and the path, it have a division, or it's made it in a five type of. The limb over here, there's a 5 type of limb. One is over here, as you see in the screen. Separate from arrogant, and now number first and the number second. This what is tell us is to really cultivate, if we want to able to be a candidate or to become the suitable base to cultivating path of knower of the path. Knower of the path. Then first of all, we have to have a subdued the arrogant. Arrogance. Basically, it is like ngagel. How is it? Ngagel. Pride. Yeah. To basically, this is the one of the, as I mentioned here at the beginning, to cultivate compassion, we have to cultivate. First step is to cultivate sense of respect for another. Sense of respect. How we lose usually this mental attitude, arrogance or pride. This is the one of the main. We usually, because we feel our own self is the center of the universe, basically, this karmically we have this sense of proud that kind of easily fall in that will becomes to main obstacle to experience respect. So this is the one thing. And the second one is achieving the minor lineage. Over here, minor lineage is over here. The second was basically, it means that you have to waken the minor lineage. That means you have to train in the mind, in the compassion mind, great compassion. So these first and second is once individual person have a trained those first and second, then you're becoming suitable base to cultivate know the path, which is the lamshe. The third again. And the third, generating the mind towards the enlightenment, that reverse to mind generation. We talked, early time. Mind generation is the bodhicitta mind. Again, without the bodhicitta mind, there's no way to cultivate the know of the path, the lamshe. Yes, it becomes so. First, second, third is kind of like a causal link to cultivate. Know the path, and the fourth is the nature of the know of the path. Why this is so special. This is know of the path. This lamshe, because now bodhisattvas, once they get direct realization in emptiness, free from the conceptual level, and having the direct realization in emptiness, and then their path. They hold their realization in a transform in the nature of a know of a path. So what's the special of this? What's the special of know of the path? Is the special is the nature of that is once all bodhisattvas, they have once they get direct realization, all their realization transform in the know of the path. Okay, so what's special about that? Is once they transform in that, although they haven't eliminated all their negative emotions, but due to transforming in a know of the path, it's like the poison which is, how I say, subdued by the medicine. Although the poison is there, but it is well controlled by the medicine. It's like all the afflictions, instead of they are taking advantage on their own for the bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas can take advantage on the negative emotion in that way. So basically, nature of the know of the path is it have a special nature that it can take advantage on the negative emotions. So that is the one, know the path. So now, in a tantric practice, you're taking whole advantage on the negative emotion. But now in a sutrayana, there's a limited for the anger. There's no way that you can never ever go close there. You have to, once you're able to get chance to eliminate, you have to eliminate. There's no option. Basically, it's a more that in the Bodhisattvas, once they get a direct realization in the emptiness, negative emotions such as like a desire, they can transform in good purpose. They can take advantage on that and enhancing their practice. So, Lamshe know the path. It carry this kind of like a nature. And the function is also pretty much, as I mentioned earlier, once that get a direct realization in emptiness, and their generation mind, the bodhicitta is transformed in a supreme thought, haksam tabe simke. Then it is ready to eliminate the imprints of the negative emotions. Okay. Okay. Now, limbs of the node path, we pretty much went earlier one is kind of like the same. Now, node path is divided as a Nyintugi lamshe be lamshe. Know the path of the hearers, know the path of the solitaries, and know the path in the Bodhisattvas. So the first one is to know the path in hearer. Basically, that means, just give a small explanations before we go to definition. Bodhisattvas' main meditation is emptiness, there's no doubt. But still, they have to meditate in a Hinayana's path, which is meditation in a selflessness of a person, and so on and so forth. The purpose is to able to help the practitioner in hearers, nyintu, hearers. So definition is basically with a generation mind, with a dedication mind, with a rejoicing mind, based on this kind of a mental attitudes, meditating in a selflessness of a person. This is in a concept of a, like I just make an example. You already have a PhD, you are a doctor, but still you can read the book of a kindergarten book for encourage for the small kids, and are trying to do those things. This know the path over here is kind of like all the bodhisattvas, they have all this powerful enough realization to eliminate the negative emotion, but still they go to meditation like the meditation which is done by hearers. The meditation was done by solitary practitioners. So doing those kind of meditation is just give them the encouragement for all those. And that's not only that, they can also benefit much more wider way. So therefore, know the path for hero means nyintuki lamshe be lamshe. The definition is kind of meditation in a selflessness of a person, which is holded by bodhicitta mind, all those method side of a practice. So that's the definition. And a division can be like, basically, generally can be two. In Arya Bodhisattvas know the path of the here, and Buddhas know the path. Buddha also does same meditation to encourage for the those things. And the boundary, the sanzam, is from the path of a seeing to, those things is mostly be in your handbook. Then, exactly same meditation in solitary, Padum Nova solitary, again, that means bodhisattvas, they also meditation, although they have a realization in emptiness, but still they do meditation in the kind of like a yogacharan view. Solitary practitioners have this view they carry, kind of like a yogacharan view, that they meditate on, based on that, and try to liberate their self from the non-dual to non-dual duality. So that kind of usually solitary practitioners, they do that, but the bodhisattva, when they're trying to put based on wisdom and compassion, when they're trying to do meditation in a non-duality, that is the definition. And the division again can be same, and the boundary from the path of seeing to until the enlightenment. So basically, these two practice, path of hierarchy and path of solitary, these are the main thing that, as I mentioned last time, bodhisattvas exercising of a non-sectarian. Okay, now let's go to the path of a seeing. The definition: mind and clear realization to be joined with wisdom and direct realization and emptiness. Path of seeing, over here, seeing as a tong. Seeing what? Seeing the ultimate reality. Seeing the ultimate reality without conceptual, without going through conceptual, without obscuring by conceptual, seeing directly. So that means path of seeing. So division in three. Tonlam Nyamsha Yishi, meditated ego pose, and obsession, and neither. It's kind of like these three. So maybe really our time to come to have really meditation. So maybe I'll stop here tonight.
His white divine actions spread in the 10 directions. May the torch of the teachings of Bosan always remain the sun of the darkness of all beings in the three realms.
Guru Rana Mandala Adayami. Did I speed? Okay. Anyway, those last three ones is usually, and the later that discussion also comes more. So nothing losing. We can have more in later. Okay. Okay. Good night. Thank you. Oh, sure. Dedication. Kundu Sambuddhaya 군기 제자나지 개와디나 남제람누 shebegawa namjenje avaga chudungavane dagegewe tsavandigunja sambunjenje Thank you.